Hey, if you like sweating, you've come to the right place.
And if a weird comment like that makes me nervous, and it makes you nervous, it's possible you've already started.
Even still, this is the sweat. It's Friday, we're feeling a little feisty, but we're fired up. We're ready to talk fantasy sports with you for the next hour. I'm Adam Kaufman alongside Reid Fowler, and we have guests.
Now let's welcome in DK Live's Mike Barner, Matt LaMarca from the Action Network, and Phantom Sports host, and a guy that we've missed quite a bunch, Adam Mancuda. This is our NBA panel, and it's time for a little price check.
Maybe you've missed him. He tweets me like crazy. Question, of course, gentlemen, is will these players return value on their salaries? That starts with James Harden because, well, last year it's a LeBron night. This year, Harden all the time, man. Keeps piling up points. This is like 75 straight games with at least 30 real points. Not fantasy, real points. So the price, it's climbing too. Season high, $13,800. It's ridiculous. But Matty, at this point, you just kind of gotta, right?
I'm going to. I don't see any reason why not. I mean, it's a difficult matchup against the Raptors. You know, they play good defense. Kawhi Leonard, great individual defender. I'm assuming he's going to play tonight. I mean, they said he's going to play, but you never know. But it's just such an unreal workload for James Harden. I mean, over a 40% usage rate now in 9 straight games. He's been over 50% in 3 of his past 5. He plays a ton of minutes. He's averaging almost 2 DraftKings points per minute over the past month. And there's enough value on the slate that I don't think it's even that hard to fit him in. So, you know, he has the safest floor and the highest ceiling every single time he's in play. And I'm not going to get too cute. I'm gonna get him in there.
I think you're adorable. Mike, he's averaging 63 points this year. Averaging.
Yeah, you got to go with James Harden. And it's a lot like what Matt just said. There's a lot of great cheap value play options tonight, so he's not that hard to fit in your lineup. Maybe my favorite stat about Harden on this stretch is he's attempted at least 13 three-pointers in 11 straight games. That's just crazy. So, yeah, you got to roll with Harden tonight.
It's a lunatic at the numbers that he's putting up. 97 fantasy points the last time. That's like that scene in Grandma's Boy, Dance Dance Revolution, where Nick Swartzen goes, "Did I break it? Is that bad?
Of
That
course.
bad?"
Of course,
That's
it's Friday.
97 points. Mancuda, you got to go with Jimmy Hardo, don't you?
Of course, and Reid, thank you for the nice welcome. And Adam, we got to talk about our Pats on Twitter, so I can't talk to anyone else about it in New York. So
I'll talk to you anytime, man. I'm not complaining.
I know, just kidding. So yeah, you got to play Harden. I mean, he put on a show the other night, in the Garden, and why wouldn't he do another show tonight? Yeah, I know against Toronto, obviously very good defensive team, but again, who else on Houston is going to do anything? The guy has played out of his mind. He's dished the ball. He's got how many rebounds the other night? Like 15 rebounds. Yeah. Obviously the 60+ points. I think the guy's obviously on a roll. You got to roll with him in all formats, obviously. And again, until Chris Paul comes back, he's going to be taking all those threes. He's going to be driving to the hole, trying to do it all on his own. And with a lack of talent around him, especially with Capella not in the lineup as well, this guy's just going to continue to put up these monster numbers. So you got to play him. I agree with the other guys.
I can't believe the 5 steals. For a guy who doesn't play defense, that's pretty good.
Well, it looks like they're missing Carmelo quite a bit.
Yeah, just got to really get that guy back in the fold.
I'm sorry, Melo.
When's he going to suit up for the Bulls?
Yeah, he's definitely watching this. I don't know. So
he may as well. We might be more
normally priced guys, there are a handful to choose from in the 8K range. Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell, D'Angelo Russell, Luka Doncic, and Kemba Walker. All-star Kemba Walker. Fantastic player. All within $800 of each other. Who do you prefer, Adam?
Yeah, I actually like D'Angelo Russell here. And look, with Dinwiddie's injury, now that he's going to be out for some time, he's out tonight. Look, Russell's playing at an all-star level, and I actually heard him on the radio the other day here in New York talking a lot about the leadership aspect of things with the Nets. The guy's really become the team leader at such a young age, so I love what I see. He's going to get now more minutes, I believe. I know Napier's going to get some of the minutes from Dinwiddie's injury, but they're going to go to Russell down the stretch in the clutch. He's been playing extremely well. I like the matchup against the Knicks of all teams. They should put up a ton of points tonight against the Knicks, so give me D'Angelo Russell tonight.
Mike, you going with Ice in the Veins or Mr. Ice in the Veins, or are you going with a guy like Luka?
No, I couldn't agree more with Russell. He's got at least 54.3 DK points in 4 of his last 5 games. Dinwiddie's out, and the Knicks allow the 3rd most points per game in the league. Russell's a scorer. He's going to thrive in this one.
LaMarca, you're definitely going Donovan Mitchell, right?
No, I can't. I really want to be different, but I got to make it 3 out of 3 here for Russell. I mentioned Harden is at 1.94 DraftKings points per minute over the past month. Second on the slate in terms of guards, D'Angelo Russell. 1.39. The minutes should be there with no Dinwiddie. Great matchup. I think that he's an excellent play.
All right, well, at forward, guys, I mean, you can pay up some. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Greek Freak, he's going to cost you almost $11,000 for the Bucks against Charlotte. Blake Griffin, Pistons in Dallas. He's focused. He's trying to motivate his team, most especially Jennings, that idiot, $10K. Kawhi Leonard, $9,500 in Houston for the Raptors. So, Mike, who's your preference?
I'll go with Kawhi. He's certainly well rested. Giannis has the highest upside, but I worry about the Bucks possibly blowing out the Hornets. Leonard scored at least 43.3 DK points in 5 straight games before he went on that resting stretch. This game should remain close with how well Harden's been playing. Leonard's also the cheapest of the 3, so that gives him the edge for me as well. I'll go with Kawhi.
Matt, what do you think? Who's your guy?
Yeah, so Blake Griffin's an easy cross-off, right? We've been taking advantage of him getting to play without Andre Drummond recently, but Drummond is going to be back in the lineup tonight, which makes him overpriced at $9,900. So it really comes down to Giannis versus Kawhi for me. And while the savings on Kawhi are nice, the upside with Giannis, I think, is just too much to pass up for an extra $1,200. In terms of his permanent productivity, he has been almost as good as James Harden recently. 1.82 DraftKings points per minute over the past month. The problem is that Milwaukee is so good that they just blow the doors off of teams, and he doesn't need to play very many minutes. So I think Giannis should have pretty low ownership tonight, maybe even like sub 10%. And I think that makes him really tempting for a guaranteed prize pools.
Okay, so Greek Freak, the Claw, or the funny man, Kuda?
I'm going with Kawhi here. I like the idea of saving some bucks here. I like the up-tempo matchup that they're going to probably have to play against the Rockets with Harden trying to speed things up. And I also agree the blowout factor is just too much for me. Any day of the week, I'm going to take Giannis over Kawhi. But to me, this game might be over for them in the third quarter. So I'd rather go with Kawhi. As you mentioned before, he's obviously well-rested. The all-around game, give me Kawhi tonight and save the money and go somewhere else.
Have you watched the Rockets this year, Kuda? They're like the second slowest team in the league.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about that. I mean, they're gonna try to speed things up. I saw them play the Knicks the other night.
They're gonna play fast tonight. Gotcha.
They're play fast tonight. I'm back, and yeah, I mean, come on.
It's because everybody just stands around and watches Harden play ISO the entire game. Did you see the stat, by the way? I wish I could remember it like to the number, but of the 255 field goals he's made, I think, over the last however many, during this ridiculous run, like 237 are unassisted.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's just doing one-man wrecking crew out there.
It's going to be interesting when Chris Paul obviously comes back. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. But how about some value? You guys touched on it. Cedi Osman is $4,800. As a former LeBron's Cavaliers host the Heat, he put up 40 points versus the Celtics on Wednesday. That's Kaufman's Celtics here. Then there's the Magic's Jonathan Isaac. He has 34 fantasy points last time out and will cost $4,700 against the Wizards. Or we have Taj Gibson coming off 33, and he's $4,500 with the T-Wolves in Utah. Who's the guy, Maddie?
I think you can do better than all three of these guys, to be honest. But I like Cedi Osman, I guess, most of the group. If you look at what the Cavs have been doing recently, it's losing by a lot. And Osman is really one of the few guys in their rotation who seems to be safe on a night-to-night basis. I think there are plenty of more appealing value options. I mean, Denver is going to be without Nikola Jokic. The Suns are incredibly shorthanded right now. So I don't think you have to play any of these three guys, but Osman's my favorite of the trio.
LaMarca, chase or fade, you just threw up in your mouth a little bit.
Fade.
Okay.
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually like Isaac in this spot. I watched him the other night against the Nets. Look, he's taken a lot more threes than he had been. He's obviously a lot more confident. Like the matchup for him. Look, Washington's playing on the second night of a back-to-back after that loss against the Warriors last night. So maybe some fresh legs for Isaac against the Wizards who had to travel to Orlando. So of these couple, I would certainly go Isaac, but I agree with Matt completely that there are other guys like Jared Bayless and other guys that have value as well that you could probably save across the board tonight.
Yeah, Mike, we need a value play. Where are you going here?
Yeah, for the sake of the exercise, I guess I'll go with Taj Gibson. Osman's just too inconsistent. Isaac's lack of scoring hurts his upside. But I'd rather go with Mason Plumlee. He's only $3,900. Jokic is out. The Suns are terrible at defending centers, and Ayton's out. So I go with Plumlee. Don't pass on all three of those guys. We don't want them.
All right, boys,
Oh,
great
extra
stuff. We're going to get more from you a little bit later on, maybe even a couple segments worth because you're that much fun. But we've got some football talk on the way after this Fantasy Flash.
Hey, I'm Taryn Azak here with your DraftKings Fantasy Flash. LeVeon Bell's name stays in the news as we have seen from his no-show 2018 season, but now we're talking about where the star running back will play in 2019. It all depends on if the Steelers will place the franchise or transition tag on him or let him walk and test free agency. If he is a free agent, his desired destination is Miami. This according to Matt Verderam of Fansided. This makes sense since Bell was seen partying in South Beach this fall. Acquiring the three-time Pro Bowler would certainly be an upgrade for the team. Miami struggled to run the ball last season, ranking 18th in rushing yards per game and tied for last in rushing touchdowns with just 7. So, no surprise here that Bell would do wonders to their running game if he can get back to his all-pro form.
Well, it's not a Friday unless we bring out the trio, the NFL trio that we love so much, all from DK Live. Steve Buchanan, Pierce Dietrich, and Jeff Ulrich here to play some Chase Fade. Guys, you already know the rules here, so we'll get started and give Bukes some time to get whatever props he has ready, maybe some deodorant spray, we don't know yet. But some additional player props are being released today on DK Sportsbook. Jared Goff's passing yards total is set to 285.5 yards. He's only gone over this twice in the last 7 games, and one of those games took OT, so you need that extra quarter, extra time. So chase or fade that he will top that mark against New England here, Jeff.
I'll chase. I like the number 285. I think I'll take the over there for sure. Probably take the over anything like 290 and under. People look at the Patriots' pass defense. I know Stephen Gilmore's playing great. I know their secondary's been good. They don't really have that much of a pass rush, though. And then you look at some of their opponents throughout the year. They played some really crappy pass offenses. Like, they get Mariota in there. You get the Jets a couple times. It's not exactly a murderer's row of passing offenses. In the last 2 games, I mean, Phillip Rivers, 330. Patrick Mahomes, 295, and basically like a nightmare scenario for the Chiefs getting down early. The Patriots sucking out clock. These are 2 of the fastest-paced teams in the league. I really like the over at 285 for Goff.
Stephon Gilmore there, Jeff. First-team All-Pro. Show him a little bit of respect.
I mean, elitist over here with the Patriots.
Get to the next segment, Kaufman.
Pierce, what do you think here?
Yeah, I'm going to fade this, and he may need to give Stevie Gilmore a little respect here. Scenario, because it was a nightmare scenario. The Patriots defense is playing well. They're getting to the quarterback. And yeah, Phillip Rivers threw for 330 yards, but that was garbage time when they were down 3 touchdowns, just winging it around. I guess if you're betting that Goff gets blown out, then yeah, he's going to get over 285. But he hasn't done anything like that. If the game's semi-close, they're running the ball, and they're having success running the ball. They're not moving it through the air. It's CJ. It's Todd Gurley. Sure, if it's a blowout, maybe they get there. But you look at the game with Phillip Rivers, he only completed 50% of his passes. Again, you look at Mahomes, he only completed 50% of his passes. I got to assume that Goff is only going to complete 50% of his passes as well. I'm combining all the quarterbacks into one thing. I'm fading this.
And now let's go to Stephon Buchanan
there
here.
You go.
You got to do it. What do you think, bud?
Well, first of all, I'm chasing that all the attractive people on the show are wearing gray today, so definitely.
Cool, slate approved.
It's good to be
Look
here.
at these 2 losers. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I just don't think you can feel good about this number at all. I mean, Reed mentioned earlier in the top here. I mean, 7 games have passed since they faced the Chiefs. We threw for over 400 yards. He's only exceeded 285 yards in 2 games since then because he's just been so wildly inconsistent. I mean, look, can Jared Goff do it? Absolutely. We've seen it a number of times in the beginning of the regular season here, but he just looked like a completely different player than he did from really weeks 1 through 8 when we saw a consistent guy that was nailing guys down the field. And, Jeff mentioned that the Patriots don't really have a pass rush. I think Patrick Mahomes would like to say different. They've looked a lot better in the playoffs here, and that pass rush was getting to Mahomes a number of times in that game against the Chiefs. So 285, it just doesn't feel like a bet you really need to take. DK Sportsbooks has a number of other bets that you'd rather, be more enticing to take.
Tell you, I'm comfortable speaking for all of us when I say it's been surprising what C.J. Anderson has done over the last month. The Rams save him, pick him up from the scrap heap. I mean, the guy needed work. All of a sudden, he's in the Super Bowl. DK Sportsbook has his rushing total set at 46.5 yards in the big game. So chase or fade, Anderson's total is way too low, Bukes.
God, this feels like it could end up being one of those total sucker bets because it does feel so low. But, you know, supposedly, Gurley's going to be back to his usual workload this week if you want to believe Sean McVay. But, you know, according to Pierce, you know, it's bad coaching if you want to take out Gurley because he's so good. Yeah, look at his game log. He's been crushing it lately, right? So, really, this just feels so low, but, like, we could totally see just a game where Gurley is back. He's in his normal workload, and Anderson doesn't even sniff this total. So it feels very, very enticing. But for that reason, it makes you feel like, man, this could end up being a total sucker bet. So it feels too low on the surface. I want to see how practice turns out during the week here. But yes, it feels too low, at least at this standpoint.
Principal Pierce, your rebuttal.
Yeah, I'm going to chase that's too low as well. And maybe we're overreacting that C.J. Anderson was pulled off the scrap heap. The Panthers just didn't have a place for him. They were running Christian McCaffrey every single down. He didn't fit into that offense. Then he went to the Raiders. Is there any surprise that they didn't know what they were doing with him? So maybe he was fine all along, and he's very fresh. I believe in him. Look, I can argue with Steve. I think Gurley's the best player. It's the Super Bowl. I put the best player in the game. But maybe C.J. Anderson is the best player at the moment. He had those 3 games where he went for over 120 yards, plus 40 in the last game. Steve's probably right again. This stinks of a sucker bet, but that number just seems too low.
No one's fresher than Jeff, chasing or fading.
Yeah, look, I'll give you the lowdown here. Don't bet on any of the running back props. Like, each team has multiple running backs. Just go. There's better places to go. Yeah, Steve hates Jared Goff. Go watch the overtime of how well Jared Goff played in that game, by the way, Steve. But there's better props out there. That's the point. You don't need to play running back roulette here because you don't know who's going to get the ball. Like, if you want to tell me who in the Patriots backfield is going to get the most touches, great. But you're probably wrong because you're just guessing. And it's the same thing here with the Rams. Yeah, Todd Gurley's the better running back. If he's healthy, he's probably going to get more snaps. We don't know if he's 100% healthy. And that's the whole point. C.J. Anderson was involved the whole game against the Saints. Didn't matter the game flow there. So I just don't think I'd touch this personally. I just think there's way better props to take advantage of this week.
Well, Jeff, if Goff was that good, it wouldn't go to overtime. He wouldn't need to. He would have just won it.
Well, you got to create some suspense. I mean, they're the LA Rams. You know,
it's true, a little Hollywood ending. Well, much to Jeff's chagrin here, we're going to move on to New England's backfield and James White. His total yards, and so for myself as a simpleton, rushing and receiving combined, he agreed with that, is set at 69.5 yards. Pierce, he's hit that mark in 3 straight games. Chase or fade that White goes over that mark once again?
I'll take it. Well, I mean, James White, I'm going to chase. James White is a receiving running back, and for the most part, the Rams have been pretty good against receiving running backs, but not in the last game. Kamara had 11 receptions for 95 yards. James White's just too important of a weapon. He's too significant to not be utilized in this game. Belichick and Brady have 2 weeks to game plan for James White. The last time that they had 2 weeks to game plan for him, he had 15 receptions in a game. Receiving yards will probably just get him there.
Jeff, Pierce has been beating that play all New England running back drum here. What do you think?
Yeah, and for fantasy purposes, that's fine. Like in the showdown, you can definitely stack the running backs. I think that's a good idea. They use them so much in the screen game. But again, we're talking about props here. Now, look, I like this prop a little bit more than the C.J. Anderson one. Gun to my head, I'd probably take the over. But again, I still think the play is just don't bet on these running back props because there's just better ones out there. And we can obviously talk about them as the week goes on. But I guess I'll take the over for this one just for the sake of argument. But I still don't like touching any of these running back ones. There's just too much guesswork involved.
Yikes, where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he doesn't rush a ton. When he does he was averaging about 4.5 yards per carry, 25 yards per game. So if he just hits his average in this game, you only need 45 receiving yards to hit the over. I mean, that's pretty enticing there. I mean, I feel like this is just a no-brainer in my opinion. Even if he doesn't get the rushes, though, we've seen him exceed this total, the 69.5, 7 times during the regular season and the postseason. So you got to like your chances here. Unlike him, you know, Sony Michel can be written out of a game. James White is still in the game if you're up or if you're down. So you got to like his spot here.
My man Sweet Feet, impactful last couple of Super Bowls. Yeah, no, it's his nickname. Seriously, he was great a couple Super Bowls ago, just off the charts against Atlanta. Should have been MVP of that game. You know how I feel about Tom. All right, some interesting player versus player props, guys. For instance, most receiving yards. Now we have Todd Gurley at plus 115, Chris Hogan minus 155. Again, that's a running back and then a receiver. So chase or fade, Gurley has more receiving yards in this game than Hogan. Jeff?
I mean, okay, so first of all, you got to think about the price. I mean, Chris Hogan is a massive favorite. For me, like straight off the bat, I'm just going to fade this because there's a real good shot Chris Hogan doesn't catch a pass in this game. I mean, he's gone absolutely, I know he's on the field a lot. He's gone absolutely ghost for a few weeks there for the Patriots. So that's definitely on the table. Then you look at Gurley. He might only have to catch 2 passes to beat this prop. So you're getting plus money with Gurley to beat Hogan here. Yeah, I'll take Gurley in this spot. I mean, look, both guys could quite frankly like put up duds in the pass game. But again, you just take the plus money with Gurley, in my opinion.
Pierce, which way you leaning?
I'm fading Gurley on this. Or did you say me?
Yeah, I said Pierce.
I just want to get a shot of this face.
Who would want to get a look at that?
Love the gray. I'm fading. So Gurley, best case scenario is on the field 60% of the time. That's best case scenario. We don't even know that'll happen. And then you cut it in half and say, well, maybe half of those plays are passing plays. That's not a lot of opportunities to outdo Hogan. And Hogan hasn't been a ghost. He looked fine against Kansas City. Did he put up a good game against the Chargers? No, because it was a blowout. There was no point for him to put up big numbers. I think we're looking at the box scores a little too much when you kind of downgrade what he did in that game. He was fine against the Chiefs. He should have a big role. 74% of the plays last week, we should see him on the field pretty much the entire game.
Can I see Bukes again? Drink it in. Look at that. All right, chase or fade?
I mean, I'm going to fade this one. I think Hogan has a decent shot here. I mean, he quietly had 7 targets last week. Like, you don't even realize that Brady was looking his way at a decent amount. And then in this matchup here, he's going to see a decent amount of Marcus Peters. Have you seen what Peters has done during the playoffs? Yeah. You have to think he might be playing on the other team, really. He's been targeted again 10 times. He's allowed 8 receptions for 143 yards. He's averaging just about 17 yards per reception. Come on. Like, all Hogan has to do is get 2 of those, and, he's already in the zone there. So I like Hogan in this spot. I think Gurley is just, I don't know what's up with Gurley at this point. So, I think Hogan's a pretty enticing option in this prop bet.
You heard it here first. Marcus Peters of the Patriots next year from Steve Buchanan. And
you heard it, baby.
Endorsement from your one and only Adam Kaufman
I think he's saying he's already playing for them.
12 on 10. I got
better, yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll need you for your thoughts on the Pro Bowl later on in the show. Can't wait.
Right.
We got NBA coming up right after we catch up with Paul Perillo from thepatriots.com.
Yeah, more Pats talk.
Welcome back to The Sweat. I'm Brendan Glasheen. Let's welcome in Paul Perillo, editor of Patriots Football Weekly and contributor to Patriots.com. Paul, thanks for the time today. Patriots rookie running back Sony Michel has 5 touchdowns this postseason, but we all know Belichick likes to mix it up at running back. I mean, basically the team went away from Michel down the stretch in Kansas City. Do you expect Michel to be an X factor in this game? And if not, who will be?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Michel will get his carries. I think that's clear that they want to try to run the ball. That's been pretty evident in these postseason games. They've gotten, at 48 carries in Kansas City. That's an absurd amount of attempts. And I think what they try to do is, I think when they went to Burkhead late in the game and in overtime, I think they were trying to sort of stay balanced and give the option that they could run or pass. I think with Michel in the game, it's pretty much a run. With James White in the game, you're pretty much assured of a pass. So I think Burkhead gives them the opportunity to be a little bit less predictable, and I think you'll see all 3 of these guys, in Atlanta as well. And I think the X factor is again how well that offensive line plays. In the first 2 games of these postseason games, they've been outstanding. In my mind, they've been the MVP of the team. No sacks allowed. No false start penalties in Arrowhead Stadium. That's really not something that happens all that often. So my X factor is all tied into what you're talking about, is the running game with Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and how that offensive line creates those opportunities.
We'll hit on Gronk and Brady here in just a moment. I want to ask you about Julian Edelman and what the difference has been as far as his motor these last few weeks.
It's a great question, and we've certainly seen a different side of Edelman, especially in that Chargers game. I thought he was really explosive. Now, he came up huge in overtime, but he was kind of quiet at times during the course of the game in Kansas City. But what we saw against the Chargers was something that really we didn't see all during the regular season. So he must be feeling a little bit better. I know he's been dealing with some things with his foot and his knee. I think he's probably feeling a little bit fresher now. I think that all of these guys, especially the veterans, they see the finish line is coming close, and you don't have to gear up for another 6, 7, 8 weeks of pounding. It's one more game. You win one more game, and you get all the time to rest and be happy about the offseason that you need. So my guess is he's feeling a little better physically, but no question about it. That offense, and Edelman in particular, has played much better in the postseason.
Yeah, speaking to your point about finish line, so many rumors swirling around Rob Gronkowski's future in the NFL this season. Will he be back next year? Will the Patriots trade him? Will he retire altogether? What do you see coming for Gronk's future in 2019?
Yeah, I mean, just from a personal side, I know we're not really supposed to have the rooting interest in any of this stuff. I was glad to see Gronk have such a big contribution in the Kansas City game, sort of have a chance to see that old Gronk that we really haven't seen very often during the course of the season. I do think this will be it. I think especially if they win this game, I think physically he is not able to take the pounding that he once did. He's been a great player, both as a blocker and a receiver. I just not sure that he's looking to put himself through all of what it takes to get himself ready to play. And he was pretty durable this year. He only missed one game. But right now, just looking through the tea leaves, my guess is that the Super Bowl is going to be his last game as a Patriot, certainly. But I think it'll be his last game because I think he'll retire.
All right, and finally, we all know Tom Brady says he plans to play until he sucks, but a lot of people think going out with another Super Bowl win would be the perfect way to go out. What % chance would you give Brady of walking away if they win Super Bowl 53?
Yeah, I would say very small, maybe 10%. I know he continues to talk about wanting to play till he's 45. I've seen no reason why he would want to stop playing. I think he enjoys every aspect of it. I think he enjoys the team. I think he's really embracing that sort of, being a 41-year-old quarterback and trying to relate to some of these 22-year-old kids probably is not an easy thing to do, but I think he has really embraced that more and more over the last couple of years, and he's still playing at a high level. We've seen that in the playoffs, and I believe him. I don't think he'll walk away until he doesn't think he can play anymore, and I don't see the end in sight.
Paul Perillo of Patriots Football Weekly, thanks so much for your time. Safe travels to Atlanta.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, let's take a break from the hardwood. Bring back our NBA panel. DK Live's Mike Barner, Matt LaMarca of the Action Network, and Adam Mancuda from Phantom Sports. LaMarca, any late-breaking news that you got your eye on that could impact lineups tonight?
I think it's going to be a pretty quiet lineup lock. The only thing I'm really monitoring at the moment is Rudy Gobert was a late addition to the injury report for the Utah Jazz. Just waiting for confirmation one way or the other on whether he's going to be in or out. Obviously, if he's out, we can give a nice bump to Derek Favors, who would probably start at center and absorb a decent bit of the minutes. And then Epke Udoh could see some value off the bench. So outside of that, I think we're pretty much squared away here heading into lineup lock.
Barner, anything to add?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more about Favors if Gobert plays. We also just got to make sure we keep an eye on the Timberwolves point guards. If Jeff Teague and Derrick Rose don't play, then Jared Bayless is very appealing at 3,600.
Adam, anything else?
Nope, those are the two guys that I was going to keep an eye on. I currently have Favors in my lineup. Quickly, we'll pivot off of him if the news comes out that Gobert actually will play tonight.
If you don't know, if you didn't get your DK Live push notifications earlier over the last hour, Andre Drummond, concussion, he's available to play. Dion Waiters ruled out tonight due to a migraine, and Julius Randle is questionable tonight. So things to keep an eye on. Download the app. It's really that easy.
This guy is professional, professional.
Listen, you got it all. It's just right at your fingertips.
All right, gents, let's get into tonight's tier contest. We'll start with tier 1 at the very top here. We got 5 names to choose from, and we'll need your top pick, obviously. We got Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Karl Anthony Towns, also known as Cat Black, Blake Griffin, and Kawhi Leonard. LaMarca, who's your top pick?
Well, definitely not Nikola Jokic. Don't play him. He's suspended. If he was active, it would have been him because he's in a great spot against the Suns. But I will go with Giannis. I just really like the points per dollar type of upside that he has. His floor is probably a little bit lower than some of these guys, but in these tiers contests, I want the highest scoring player in each tier, and I think that Giannis has more upside than the rest of this tier.
Adam, where are you going?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, earlier we had the Kawhi versus Giannis question. I went Kawhi simply because of the value in terms of when you're trying to save the money. But heads up, you can't go against Giannis in this spot. And I completely agree with Matt. He's a very wise man. I would have taken Jokic in this spot over him. However, with him suspended tonight, you obviously can't use him. So give me the Greek Freak in this one and enjoy the ride with him tonight.
Mike, you feel the same way?
Exactly. Go with Giannis. Price doesn't matter here. Towns could have a tough matchup if Gobert plays. Giannis just has the highest upside of the group, so don't overthink it.
All right, let's go down a few tiers, guys. Who's your top choice in Tier 5? There's Lauri Markkanen, Justice Winslow, Chris Middleton, Will Barton, Spencer Dinwiddie, Buddy Hield, who I love, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka as well. So, Adam, start us off. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm actually torn a little bit between Markkanen and Siakam, but I'm going to go with Siakam. Look, the guy's an all-around player. He's obviously contributed throughout the entire season. To me, he's the most improved player in the league. It's either him or Hield. But again, give me Siakam tonight. I like the matchup against Houston. I think that he could overmatch anyone in their front court currently, so I'll roll with him tonight in that spot.
Mike, Siakam or see someone else?
I'll go with Serge Ibaka. Again, it's the matchup against the Rockets front court, which is appealing here, obviously, but I'll take the other side and go with Ibaka. He's got at least 30 DK points in 4 of his last 5 games. I think he'll at least approach that many points, if not pass it considerably.
Maddie, is there a third attractive option?
Yeah, I'm going with Justice Winslow, a.k.a. the man that Pat Riley turned down 4 first-round picks for at one point in his life. I like targeting him against the Cavs. Cavs, obviously the worst defensive team in the league by a significant margin. That does come with some blowout concerns. They have been really uncompetitive recently. But I love getting Winslow here with Dion Waiters out of the lineup. I think that gives him a nice boost in stock. He should be, sort of the primary ball handler distributor for the starting unit, and he's had big upside in that role this season. So if the Cavs do keep this game competitive, I think that he has, the 45 type of ceiling, which I'm not so confident in for the rest of these guys.
You remember that? Danny Ainge tried to trade those 4 first-rounders for, the rights to Winslow, but Michael Jordan said, I have to have Frank Kaminsky.
Yeah, no, I mean, 4 first-rounders. How do you pass up on that? Last one here, guys, so make it good. Mike, you get first dibs at Tier 6. Who else? Ante Žižić, Malcolm Brogdon, Noah Vonleh, Jarrett Allen, Tim Hardaway Jr., Willie Cauley-Stein, Derrick Rose, and Ricky Rubio. Where are you going?
Jarrett Allen. The Knicks are a mess at center. He might be facing the duo of Noah Vonleh and Mitchell Robinson. Allen isn't always consistent, but he's shown he can exploit favorable matchups. Last week when he faced the depleted Rockets, he had 60.5 DK points. So I think his upside's pretty good here. I'll take a chance on him.
LaMarca, where are you going?
I'm going with the Fro as well. I'm a little less confident in terms of his matchup because I do think that the Knicks want to play Kanter, and they kind of just got psyched out in their last matchup with the fact that Houston was playing such a small lineup. I think Kanter will get the nod tonight. But still, the Knicks have been awful against centers, even with Kanter in the lineup. So Allen has big upside. The real question is just what his minute situation is going to look like on a given night. So the fact that the Knicks might play Kanter in this matchup, if anything, should help him play more minutes in this matchup.
Adam, you like Derrick Rose, or where are you going?
Nope, I'm going to make it 3 for 3. Gotta love the Fro. I think that the matchup is perfect for him. Look, the Knicks are obviously in full tank mode at this point, so even if Kanter plays, there's no guarantee he's going to play for long. The Turkish government's after him. They might want to hide him in this one, obviously, because they want to protect his trade value. But, for me, it's Allen. I think his upside is tremendous here with the rebounds against that terrible front line outside of really Kanter. Remember, Kanter, who knows how many minutes he's going to play. So I'd go Allen, and I'll take his upside. As Matt said, I think he was dead on with the amount of points he scored against Houston and that front line. So give me him in this matchup as well.
Guys, well done. We'll see you in a few for your showdown picks for tonight's slate. Should be fun. Up next, though, we're going to get our NFL panel back talking about their top Pro Bowl picks. This should be entertaining. That's right, Jeff's favorite way to spend his Sunday. Not golf. No. Pro Bowl. Before we get there, Friday. That means it is Francesa Friday, which means you get more of me. You're welcome. It's a Good Friday with the Sports Pope. Adam Kaufman with WFAN's Mike Francesa, host of Mike's On, and of course a weekly guest here on The Sweat, multiple times a week. We always love having him. Mike, tons to cover since we last spoke, too, most especially now that we have got that Super Bowl matchup, Patriots-Rams. Personally, I'd have preferred Pat Saints. I know your prediction was Pat Saints. Mainly, I love the Tom Brady-Drew Brees narrative, but how do you feel about this game?
I didn't think there was a bad game. I think there's a little hangover because of the call and the idea that the Saints somehow should have been in the game, and it was an outrageous call. and somehow the Rams are not deserving or they don't belong there. Everyone's got to get over that. It's not the Rams' fault. I mean, listen, I thought the player in question, the player who committed the penalty, I thought he was completely honest where he said, hey, we were caught inside. Everything was run, and I had one of the coaches on from the Saints to talk about it. I mean, and I'll explain to you what they did. They moved everybody inside. They were going to double, and then they ran a wheel route. They had him dead for a touchdown. The kid said, hey, I tried to break the play up. A penalty was better than a touchdown, so I tried to commit a foul. You got a guy admitting he committed a foul, and there's no foul on the play. I mean, so it was a disaster for the NFL. It did cost the Saints the game. It's something that they will correct going forward because it'll never happen again, especially now when you take the betting elements into it where they have to get these calls right. And there is a little bit of a hangover where the Rams are, they're not deserving. You'll get a little of that early in the week, and then they'll get down to the storyline about, is McVay a genius? Is he the next Belichick? Are the Rams ready? Et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll get to the Brady stuff. And the other storyline of the week will be Romo. Romo is becoming the new Madden, and he will be a big hit at this Super Bowl.
Let's talk more about that call, though, because Saints, I mean, they did. They got screwed against the Rams. The officials admitted as much. The fans, they're filing lawsuits, putting up billboards.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts, obviously, but they want to have their voices heard.
They should understand what standing is. They don't have any standing.
No,
none.
They're
not money, obviously. So.
But a guy who does have standing, Mike, Roger Goodell, not a peep from the commissioner to this point. Now, I know you can't fix it. It's not like you're going to go and replay the ending or something like that. Human error impacts games, that's that, at least for now. But how should the league deal with this going forward?
What should have happened is the commissioner should have been on camera that evening. He wasn't, because he handles these public situations as badly as any executive I've ever seen in any walk of life. He is a nightmare when it comes to public relations. He has no feel for it, and he has no people skills. The reason he's good for the league is he's great at battling the Players Association. He has saved the money a fortune. He has grown the revenue enormously. That's why the league pays him, and the owners pay him $40 million a year.
Well, and he always talks about the shield. He is the shield. He takes the bullets.
And he is. He takes the bullets. He fights the battles, and he grows the revenue. Don't ever forget that. Yep. He grows the revenue. That's his job. He is an owner's employee. See, people think of the days of Kennesaw Mountain Landis, and they think that the commissioner is a guy who is there to safekeep the game. Nonsense. The commissioner, since the days of unions, is there to be the owner's employee. He does not have any interest in preserving anything about the game. He is there to protect the owner's revenue. That's why he's there.
So in the AFC, though, Mike, I mean, people are up in arms about the overtime rules, really, because it's because the Pats won. I mean, had the Chiefs started with the ball and Tom Brady never touched it.
Hit on the head.
Yeah, there's no national media or ownership outrage whatsoever. Jerry Jones wouldn't be whining about it. That being said, should the rule be changed going forward?
No, I haven't seen enough evidence that rule should be changed. The bottom line is, here's why you don't change the rule. On the same day, the Saints, with a Hall of Fame quarterback, got the coin toss and lost the game the same day. So this was clearly a Pat reaction. If Kansas City had won, nobody would have said a word.
Yep.
So this was clearly a Patriot reaction because they'd seen it in the Super Bowl with the Falcons, and now they saw it again, and they're tired of seeing it. There's not enough evidence yet to overturn that they have to make it where one team has to touch the ball and the other team has to touch the ball no matter what scoring happens. They had to make it on the field goal because it had gotten cheap, because the way the game is now, 30 yards is not enough to give up the game. So they made it a touchdown. I think that rule works. Nothing's perfect in the overtime, but the bottom line is, until I see more evidence what the team that gets the ball first is an automatic winner, I don't think they change anything. And you hit it on the head. It is a Patriot reaction because they've done it twice in recent years. And let's be honest, if you watch that game and you had a good feel for that game, you understand whoever won the coin flip was going to win the game. If the Kansas City Chiefs had won the coin flip, they'd be in the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, and the percentage is just a tick above 50, maybe 55%.
It's not anything that worked. And on the same day, a quarterback in his building who's a Hall of Fame quarterback threw an interception.
Yeah. No, you're right. All right, so 9 days out from the Super Bowl, still very early. You clearly reserve the right to change your opinion, but what's your prediction for this game right now?
You know, I'm not there yet. I can tell you this. This is what I'm going to try. I'm going to try and beat the Pats if I can. So that's what I'm going to work on. The one hope I have is, give me 2 hopes. I'm going to give you 3 hopes.
All right, you can have 3.
Number one, I think the coach is a good coach. I think he'll have a good game plan for the game. And that's very important because you cannot let Belichick come in here and out-prepare you, which he can easily do. So that's number one. I think this young coach is a very, very smart coach. I thought the game he coached was brilliant. I thought Sean Payton had a terrible postseason. If you want to get into that, I will with you. Number 2, the quarterback showed me that although he's not great, he's not afraid of the moment. And that's important. He's not afraid of making a play when he has to. And number 3, and by far the biggest one, they have a couple of pass rushers who on the interior have the God-given ability to get pressure inside, because if they can't do that, they cannot win the game. Those guys have to have big days. Aaron Donald doesn't have a game where you say, wow, they're not winning.
All right, let's wrap with this because we'll do all football when we talk again for Monday's show. But NHL skills events are tonight, the All-Star competition. The game is tomorrow. Personally, I used to love All-Star games, at least aside from the Pro Bowl. Nobody likes the Pro Bowl. I don't know if that's because, you know, I was a kid and it was exciting and these were my heroes growing up, or because games were better back then and I've gotten older. I don't know. I don't care. Even in the NBA, I'm excited about the draft. We've talked about the draft. I don't care about the game. Do you enjoy All-Star games at all now?
Well, you served me up something that my audience knows. I detest All-Star games. Okay. The only one that even works a little is baseball, only because it's an individual sport played inside a team concept. The other games shouldn't even be played. 2 of the sports shouldn't even have an all-star game. That's hockey and football, where you can't play defense, so why have one? And number 3, basketball, at least last year they actually tried a little bit because of the new concept. I think that actually salvaged the game, the idea of drafting the teams where they actually didn't act like it was just the Harlem Globetrotters bouncing dunks and hitting dunks and you know, throwing up passes and, you know, bouncing the ball off the backboard to each other. So to me, all-star games are awful. I could care less. I'll tell you this, I can sit through the 3-point contest on a Saturday night if I'm watching it with my boys. I can watch that. The game itself, I can't even watch.
Any way to fix those, you think, or
no?
It's
no way
nothing?
To fix it. No, there's no way to fix it. There really isn't, because you can't compel defense in these games. You see, in baseball, the pitcher he's got his job to do, so he's going to go out there to strike out the hitter. And in the All-Star game, you usually get more strikeouts than anything else because the pitchers dominate the game usually. The bottom line is that game can work a little because it's still a hitter against the pitcher, and that element doesn't change. So your game doesn't change as radically. But in the other sports, the game changes so radically because you can't touch the quarterback, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't hit anybody in hockey. So it doesn't work in that regard. Those sports need defense for the game to be real.
All right, Mike, enjoy the weekend. We'll talk again Monday.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
All right, let's welcome back our NFL panel, DK Live's Pierce Dietrich, Jeff Ulrich, and Steve Buchanan. Guys, people need your help, and so do we, on your top selections for the Pro Bowl Showdown contest. Now, Steve, we know
it's a real thing, guys. Take it seriously.
Steve, we know this is your favorite type of contest here, so how do you tackle a slate like this? Is it kind of like a preseason game where mentally you just try to find as much info as possible about who's playing where and so on and so forth? So where are you going?
No defense.
I mean, according to the Twitterverse, I mean, I don't even know if there's a game this Sunday because there's not much talk about it. I mean, look, you're not going to get a straight answer. I mean, you're not just going to go for the big name players in this game. One thing, you know, I got to admit, Julian, I give him a lot of crap. He has a pretty decent write-up on the DraftKings playbook about the Pro Bowl. So, I mean, mark the tape. I'm never going to compliment him again. But, you know, there's just not a lot of guys, running backs that are used for their carries in this game. The quarterbacks aren't in the game long here as well. I mean, last season, Goff had 18 pass attempts. That led the game. Derek Carr was next with 15. So, I mean, it's really tough to just figure it out, and you're not going to get a straight answer from anybody. So it's kind of a guessing game, in my opinion.
For the record, pretty decent high praise from Bukes.
That's extremely. Any praise is high praise. So another guy who gets a ton of praise from Bukes. Jeff, what do you think?
I mean, it's a little bit like a preseason game. You should definitely try and get as much info as possible. You're not going to get a ton of info. You're not going to get like guys playing 80% of the snaps or anything like that, but you're going to get some info as to players who might be taking it easy or perhaps like a coach's game plan. So you can attack it that way. But I think Steve actually kind of hit on an interesting point because the quarterbacks and the running backs too, I think are a little bit devalued. I think the wide receivers and tight ends have a little bit more value in this game. It's slight. Like, I'm not talking a ton here, but it's one thing to think about when you're making lineups. So that's about it. Look, take it for what it is. It's just a fun, like flag football game, basically. So, realize what you're getting yourself into before you take the plunge. But it's still going to be fun for fantasy purposes because, I mean, one big play is basically going to decide a lot of this stuff. So, yeah.
Hasn't been a lot of fun for the Patriots mascot, Jeff.
It was not. It was not. It was a little bit of a mean play there, but it was the Patriots, so he kind of deserved it.
That was the best tackle they've made all season, actually.
Yeah, good for Jamal Adams.
Yeah, great form. Pierce, what do you think?
We got to look up the rules, and recently they changed it so that you can play cover 2 in the Pro Bowl. A lot of times we think it's man-to-man, it's a shootout. They changed that a couple years ago, and we've seen the scores change a little bit, and that kind of favors the tight ends because you can't throw the deep route. Well, you can still throw the deep routes, but they're not as effective because you've got the safeties playing back. So then you throw the short routes to the tight ends who really can't be tackled. You get the two-hand touch rule that they basically play by, and that's why you see these tight ends having really big games. Another rule is there is a rule that says you have to have a tight end on the field at all times. You have less tight ends on the roster. That basically means they get more volume than anybody else. The receivers are splitting carries or receptions amongst them. That's why we're seeing tight ends have big plays. You want to target tight ends.
Yeah, just one final thing since we're talking strategy. I mean, obviously, some of these players played last week. So, I take that into account. I can't see, like, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill going full throttle in this game.
Why? He didn't last week.
Something to think about.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill didn't go full throttle against the pass. I wish the camera had been on the two of us here. Because this is the first time hearing there are even rules in this game.
Yeah, give it to Pierce, man. Give it to that's fantastic.
Leave it to Pierce, though, the guy who's obsessed with umpires, that he reads the
rule. You know where I got those rules? The Wikipedia page. So.
All right, so there are rules. We just don't know if they're made-up rules. Who's your captain choice for this showdown, Jeff?
I'm going with Juju Smith-Schuster. Is there an event more tailor-made for a player than Juju Smith-Schuster? This guy dressed up as himself for Halloween and then put it on Instagram or Twitter. This is perfect. He can be tweeting, taking a selfie as he catches like a 90-yard touchdown pass. In all seriousness, I mean, he's a young guy. He's probably going to go out there and have fun. Why not put Juju Smith-Schuster? Not hurt. I like it. I really like the spot for him.
Went trick-or-treating, too, didn't he?
He did.
You got to love the guy. Pierce, what else did you see on that Wikipedia page?
Well, if you look, you see the MVPs and all the touchdowns are coming from tight ends. So you've got to play tight ends. Stack your roster full of them. They get the most volume. I'm going to go with Kittle as my guy. Again, the game favors them. It's not as easy to throw the deep pass anymore. It's easy to throw that underneath route. You're not going to see guys trying to smash into a tight end on a short route. They're just going to let him catch the ball for 10 yards and do the two-hand touch tackle. That's why we see these tight ends being the MVPs lately.
Bukes, who's the Capitan?
Yeah, I'm going with Saquon Barkley in this one. I mentioned earlier that this isn't really a game tailor-made for running backs, but passing down backs is a completely different story here. So, I mean, who's better than Barkley in this game? Averaged 7.5 targets during the regular season, 45 receiving yards when he was targeted. I mean, and it's his first Pro Bowl. So you imagine they're going to give him a decent amount of run in this game. Don't hold me to that, but, I would think that over some of these guys that have been here a number of times, Saquon Barkley just getting his feet wet in this game. So I love him in this game here if you want for the captain's role especially. So I'm going Barkley.
Yeah, also he's a rookie. He probably thinks this is cool and he cares, which most of those guys do not.
I think the guy who kind of cares, is your captain.
Right.
I like that. Look, value is relative in this game, so there could be some gems. Obviously here, Pierce, where are you finding value on Sunday?
Yeah, you can get Kyle Juice check for almost nothing. $800 is basically free. And it goes along with the same theme that Jeff said. If you get, Juju wants to basically show up and have a big game. Well, it's the same thing for the fullbacks. This is a game where they actually get to play and they're a part of the offense. A couple years ago, he had 5 carries. The year after, they had 5 receptions. When the prima donna running backs don't want to go into the game and don't want to run anymore, the fullbacks come in and basically are the running back on the field.
Bukes, what did Julian say for a value pick?
Oh, I don't know. I just kind of went through the article. I didn't really read it. I think Eric Ebron. We've been kind of touting up the tight ends in this position. So who better than Ebron? especially with his red zone presence. You know, Andrew Luck's going to be in this game at some point too. You know, if those two guys are on the field at the same time, I mean, there's your rapport right there. Luck to Ebron in the red zone. Ebron had 15 touchdowns on the year, 3,800. I mean, if he's in your flex, I mean, that is just so cheap for a guy that was a monster in the red zone. So if you're looking for a touchdown, Ebron, if he's on the field, always a threat there to take one.
Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Goose Egg that Pierce brought on,
Nice.
he can catch. I mean, he can run a little bit, so I like that play. But I'll stick with tight end. I mean, Pierce makes a good point. But Jared Cook, again, Jared Cook is one of those players who just, you know, he's got the athleticism. Sometimes he doesn't always show up. But this is a perfect spot for Jared Cook. He's also looking for a new deal. The Raiders, stopped playing 10 weeks ago, so he should be fresh. But I like the value getting with Cook.
Look, call me a victim of Narrative Street, man, but if I'm building a lineup, I'm not picking the guy named Goose Egg.
Yo, I definitely am.
He's probably not getting
100%.
rostered in my team.
Yeah, neither knows get a roster. That's
it's really your own fault if he puts up a Goose Egg. Yeah.
There we go.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. Enjoy your weekend. We've got NBA Showdown picks coming up real soon, so stick around.
What's going on? I'm Taryn Azak, and with your DraftKings Fantasy Flash. In tonight's NBA Showdown contest, two teams are coming off victories. The Charlotte Hornets travel to the Bradley Center to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. The Hornets are looking to keep their momentum going with 4 wins in their last 5 outings, especially after a much-needed victory taking down the Memphis Grizzlies in a 118-107 road win Wednesday. Kemba Walker, who was just named as one of the starters for the 2019 NBA All-Star Game, led the team, putting up 22 points, 7 assists, 4 steals, and 2 rebounds in 39 minutes. Walker will cost you $16,500 as a captain and $11,000 as a flex in tonight's contest. Over to the Eastern Conference leading Bucks, who have been red hot, winning 12 of their last 14 games. They will be looking for their 6th straight dub after taking down the Dallas Mavericks in a 116-106 home win on Monday. The Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was also named a starter and team captain for the NBA All-Star Game, led the way for the Bucks with 31 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. You can roster Giannis for $20,100 as a captain or $13,400 as a flex. The Hornets did beat the Bucks 110-107 in the team's last meeting back on November 26th, with Giannis missing a triple-double by 1 assist with 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists. So, we'll see if they cause an upset again to the Bucks tonight. We'll have to wait and see who will keep their winning streak going. Tip-off is set for 8:30.
Sarah Lynn, thank you very much. Pay attention, would you? All right, we're putting a bow on tonight's show, but until we tie this sucker up, we're going to make it look all pretty. We have to talk about tonight's showdown contest between Charlotte and Milwaukee. I'm talking Hornets, Bucks, okay? We're back to the association here. Let's bring back the NBA panel. DK Live's Mike Barner, Matt LaMarca of the Action Network, and also Adam Mancuda from Phantom Sports. Guys, hi. Go ahead.
LaMarca, who's your captain for tonight? You're going with one of the All-Star starters in Giannis or Kemba, or are you saving with someone like Brogdon at 12-3?
You know me. You know I'm a saver at the captain position. Yep. I like Marvin Williams tonight. Okay. I think he gives you a little bit of floor and a little bit of ceiling at that captain spot. He hasn't been good his last 2 games, but he's still playing, a decent amount of minutes. He's just shot the ball really poorly. So I love targeting guys like that are due for some regression with their jump shot. I think that this is a good spot to sort of buy low on him. And if you are willing to target him at captain, then you can pretty much roster whoever else you want with the rest of your line.
Mark, are you saving like LaMarca here? Mike?
Oh, Mike. Okay. Sorry, I heard Mark.
That's because you said Mark.
2 clear choices for me are Giannis and Kemba Walker. Well, I think Giannis has the higher upside. I played Walker in the captain spot. That way you can play Giannis too at one of the utility spots and still have enough money left over to fill out a decent lineup.
Adam, what do you think?
I actually like Brogdon here. I don't love the matchup for Kemba against the Bucks. I like Brogdon. He's just so consistent. Obviously, another one of these guys, along with the Buddy Hields of the world, that could be considered one of those improved players. I know that he was the Rookie of the Year last year, but he's, I think, to me, taking his game to a whole nother level. He's really become a real good floor general, like he was in college at Virginia. So I'll save a little bit of money here and go with Brogdon in this spot.
All right, hot take, Andrew. Going off of your captain's choice, what's a companion or complementary play that you think makes sense? Mark, back to you.
Mike.
Like I said, I'd go with Walker in the captain's pick, and then I'd pair him with Giannis. That way you still have enough money left in your lineup to fill it a respectable lineup, but you still get the top two options in it.
Adam?
Yeah, thanks for the shout. I'll go Middleton here. Again, I want to just pair Brogdon with Middleton. I think that they will score a bunch of points here tonight. I think there's also that blowout capability here. I think if they key on Giannis at all, that obviously opens up things for Middleton. So give me Chris Middleton to pair with Brogdon.
Okay, we need a nice complimentary pick here, Action Matt. Who you like?
Yeah, I'm complimenting Marvin Williams at captain with Kemba Walker and Giannis in the utility spots.
Makes all the sense in the world.
That's why you pay down a captain. I can get them. I can also get Chris Middleton if I want. You know, that's my goal in these contests is I want to find, you know, the captain that allows me to play all the other guys that I want.
All right, Adam, we're coming back to you. What's the best mid-tier value pick on the slate?
I don't mind Biyombo in this spot. You know, Cody Zeller's out, so the guys could get a bunch of rebounds here. He's pretty decent value down the board, so give me the double B threat, Mr. Biyombo.
Mike, what do you think?
Marvin Williams, 5,800. He scored at least 21.3 DK points in 5 of his last 6. He should benefit from the fast pace of this game. The 2 times these teams played each other this season, he averaged 10.5 points and 8.5 rebounds. So he should at least approach a double-double in this game.
Lamarca, what do you think? Best mid-tier value pick in the showdown tonight?
I like the other center for Charlotte. I like Willie Hernan-Gomez. He's a little bit cheaper than Biyombo and can give you the same, per minute productivity, if not more. And I think he'll come with lower ownership. So he's probably a little on the cheap side in terms of, a mid-tier play. But that's kind of, how I'm building my lineups tonight, I think, is Williams at captain, the studs, and then Willie Hernan-Gomez.
We've got time, boys. Let's go bargain shopping, shall we? Super value pick, okay? So not just value, super value for this contest. Is there anyone worth taking a shot on, Lamarca?
I like Malik Monk at 3K. That guy can fill it up when he's on the court. He's not, a guy who plays a ton of minutes. We only have him projected for 17 tonight. But when he's on the court, you can guarantee that guy is going to be looking to score the basketball. I don't know if he's ever met a shot that he didn't like. So I like his upside in these kind of formats. He on those nights when everything's falling for him, he can give you, 25 or so DK points at just 3K. Which is, plenty at that salary.
Monk, loved his show. Adam.
I agree. Matt's the man on this one. I like Malik Monk. Again, garbage time. Again, if they are getting blown out, he'll be in there. They got to give him some run. Go with Monk. Price is right there.
Michael, no confusion.
George Hill, 3,200. He's got a secure role as the Bucks' backup point guard. He's got at least 15.5 DK points in 5 straight. If the game does get out of hand, he could even see some extra playing time in garbage time.
All right, Adam, we're going to need your slate-approved pick for the entire slate. So what is it?
Whole shebang.
Whole shebang.
I actually like Marc Gasol here. The last 2 games, he's been really good. Against the Kings tonight, we don't know who's playing center. There's a report out there that they're going to announce really where Bagley's going to play the rest of the season coming off the bench or the starter role. That should be tonight. We'll find out if he's going to start. But I like Gasol here. Build up his trade value. I think he had a triple-double his last time out. So give me Marc Gasol here tonight for my approved pick.
Mike, what do you think? Where are you going?
Yeah, it's got to be James Harden. I know his price is crazy high. There's so many great cheap value plays tonight, so he's not going to really hinder your budget. Chris Paul's expected to return Sunday, so this could be the end of the line in terms of the crazy stat numbers for Harden. Enjoy the ride while you can.
Love that Jimmy Hardo pick. Love it.
Lamarca, surprise us.
Harden is the guy, but you're going to need those values, and there's no better value on the slate, in my opinion, than Mason Plumlee. Likely going to start in place of Nikola Jokic. He's averaged 1.09 DraftKings points per minute this season. Dirt cheap at 3,900, and just an absolute dream matchup against the Suns. Worst rebounding team in the league, and they're without their top center. Just a potential field day spot for Mason Plumlee.
All right, fellas, we're going to let you go. You've been lovely, though. We appreciate your time. We'll do it again with you coming up next week, so behave yourselves in the meantime. Ain't no Twitter like NBA Twitter, by the way. And I don't know if everybody saw before we get out of here the LeBron James thing where he's singing Rewind, tag Kyrie Irving in the Instagram post, talking about running it back, basically. That was the implication. I can't handle the thought of Kyrie going to the Lakers. Yeah, because it pisses me off. But all right, we're running out of time. Thanks to all of you for joining us, our analysts, our guests, everybody. It's Friday. Go out, do something more fun than watch us. We'll be back with you Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Have a great job. Bye-bye.